All right, here we go. So number, what is this? 4 and 5, right? So this is 4. Oops, this is 5. My brain is done. All right.
I believe in you.
So here you go. So f of x is 4x plus 5. And remember, I have that blank, parentheses, blank, x, blank, parentheses, blank. And that works for all your parent functions. So if you had x to the second, you would have the second right here. Okay? And the way I think about this is, if it were x to the second, right, would the square affect the 4?
Yeah.
No.
Divide.
Right? It would only affect the square, the x, right? So that x in here and that square is here. That means the 4 would be outside.
Yes.
So that's why this 4 is right here.
Yes.
Okay? And then that's why the 5 plus 5 is right here. So then we have to build these little brackets. Guys, focus. We got to build these brackets so that we have this f of x inside the g of x. Okay? And from that, I'm going to create the new thing. But I want to explain which one is which.
Yeah.
So verticals are on the outside. So let's do that. Let's go vertical and purple. So vert, right? So this is a compression, right? If it's less than 1. And it's a stretch, right? If it's greater than 1. Okay? So in other words, 8/10 would be a compression. 10/8 would be a stretch. Does that make sense? Okay? Same thing. Oh, and then the vertical shift
Should we skip this one?
is going to go up or down, right? So plus is up, minus is down. Okay? Now, x's do the opposite, that's why they're your x's, right? So,
Yep.
the way I look at the x's are in here, they're the hor, right? So the horizontals, right, are going to be a compression, always on the left, right? So a compression, right, is going to always get changed. So even though the compression is less than 1, right? So if you compress something by 4/5, it's going to change to 5/4. Okay? It's going to flip. It's going to be the opposite. Remember, x's do the opposite. OPP. Okay? So the opposite of 4/5 would be 5/4. As with a stretch, right? If it were 7/3, that would get switched to a 3/7. Okay? Now, as far as horizontal shift, right? Since x is to the opposite, left is normally a minus, right? But it becomes a plus. So to go left, you're going to add. To go right, you're going to subtract. So normally, right would be a plus, but x's do the opposite, right? So it's going to become a minus. So with that knowledge, you can slap in any formula. It could be to the 1/2 power, which would be a square root. It could be to the 3rd power, 2nd power, 1st power, which it is, right? 4th power, 5th power, it doesn't matter, okay? They really...
Good afternoon, Maple Street Trapper School. I am thrilled to announce the 2nd annual MTS Talent Show. The show will be at 6 p.m. Friday, December the 13th. There will be a dress rehearsal Friday, December 5th at 1 p.m. right after lunch. If you're interested, please go to Jessica Morse or Caitlin Ford on the stage for a permission slip. Everyone is welcome to perform, including teachers. Last year was a great success, but I think this year even better.
All right, here we go. So, just so you know, you can plop it in here no matter what you're using, okay? So, what I like to do is go, okay, if this is my f of x, I'm going to throw my g of x right away. So I'm going to draw my g of x in blue and just go g of x is equal to blank 4 parentheses, blank x blank parentheses 1 plus 5 parentheses bracket actually blank, okay? And then I just throw anything in, right? So we'll start with the vertical, or the hor is red, right? The hor stretch. Now remember, the x-axis is the opposite, right? The stretch is in front, and because it's 8/7, we're going to turn it into 7/8. Okay? So this gets flipped. Again, hor shift. Right means I want to go right, which sounds positive, but x's to the opposite. That's why they're your x's. So it's going to be a -3. Okay? And a vertical. So and then shift down. So that just does exactly what it's saying. So down is -2. And that's my formula. Okay? Now if you want, you can multiply it through. And say everybody on the block gets a paper. 4 goes into 8 twice. So that means 7/2. And then 4 times -3 would be -12. And then plus 5. And then -2. Because this isn't a square, we don't have to do a bunch of like binomials multiplying each other. This becomes pretty easy, and we could write it out as g of x is equal to 7/2 square x, and then -12 plus 5 is -7, -2 is -9, and then you're done. And that would be your shift. So that would be a hor stretch, a hor shift, and a vertical shift. Okay? All right, so with the next one, I do the same thing. I just go g of x equals blank parentheses 4 parentheses blank x blank parentheses 1 plus 5 bracket blank. And I do whatever it tells me to do. Hors are red, so the shift right, they do the opposite, right? So right is -2. Okay? Vertical compression, okay, that's purple, right? And then that's going to be out in front because it's compression. It's less than 1, right? So 2/7 is less than 1. Boom. And so this one's a little harder to do because you got to do this guy first. Everybody on the block gets a paper, so that's 4x minus 8 plus 5, right? So you do that first, and then we're going to multiply everything by 2/7. So that's really 4x minus 3 times 2/7. So then that's going to be equal to g of x is equal to 8/7 x minus 6/7. Okay? And then that would be your g of x. Okay? So a lot of manipulation. It's pretty good. Questions? Pretty easy throwing it in like that? Questions? Go. Don't do that. That would be bad.
You just did it.
Oh, I hate that. All right, let's go.